In southeastern Germany rises Mount Watzmann. It and surrounding peaks are stone guardians of a remarkable wild region that holds tight to its secret nature. More secrets are revealed where mountains plummet into the depths of Lake Königssee. Few visitors experience the picture book wonderland of Berchtesgaden National Park in winter. This is the time when nature sleeps. But even now, at this quietest time, there is life and there is magic. The mountains are built of limestone and reveal a violent past. The rocks are comprised of fossils from an ancient seabed that was heaved skywards by battling tectonic plates. The deep cuts and gouges were made by the mighty glacier more than 1 kilometer thick that filled this valley. The glacier was one finger of an ice sheet that covered this alpine region. Though the ice age ended 12,000 years ago, the mountains carry echoes of that frozen past. Winter is not lifeless, but the few animals seen at this time are shaped by extreme cold. Chamois avoid deep snow. They gather on steep slopes and ice-free ridges. Crossbills do well. In conifer cones, they find plenty of ripe seeds to eat. Rock ptarmigans wear winter camouflage. A male caws to defend his territory and is female. But some animals fall victim to the harsh winters. A dead chamois is a golden opportunity for a golden eagle. These eagles are aerial hunters, but in winter, scavenging is their survival strategy. This one may not have eaten for a week, and now it will gorge itself. But there are other ways of surviving the winter chill. Some have evolved ways to be here, but not be here at the same time. This burrow entrance has not been used for several weeks. Here's why. The owner is hibernating. A marmot may sleep for half a year, surviving on the fat it put down last summer. It will emerge in the spring when there are fresh plants to eat, but that seems a very long time away. By March, snowmelt has begun on warmer slopes near Lake Königssee. Early season flowers form their buds under snow cover. Now they emerge ready to be pollinated. New blooms rise as if by magic into the cold mountain air. Winter rose petals remain intact for many weeks. The reason will become clear in late spring. The sun's energy powers a green makeover on alpine meadows. For chamois, the hard times are thankfully over. At last, there's places to bask and plenty to eat. But very few animals eat winter roses. They protect themselves with powerful toxins. On higher slopes, food is still scarce, but that doesn't deter alpine ibex. Ibex are related to chamois. This is a male-only group. The older ones have the most impressive horns. During the Ice Ages, ibex and chamois specialized in finding food in extreme conditions. They still forage in the steepest, harshest summit regions. In the Middle Ages, hunters wiped out ibex in this region. They were reintroduced last century, and now around 200 thrive in the Berchtesgaden Alps. This weird-shaped limestone is called karst. As rainwater drains through cracks in the rock, it dissolves it and opens up crevices. And in the humid depths, many moss forests are found. And so are winter survivors of another kind. Harvestmen are related to spiders and mites. Down here, they avoid the damaging rays of the sun. Just as each ice age ended as the planet warmed, so this winter mini-ice age ends as spring sun warms the slopes of the Berchtesgaden National Park. Meltwater soaks alpine meadows. It will soon trigger a transformation into lush summer gardens. Meltwater also swells mountain streams. The white-throated dipper can now collect moss to line its nest and food to line its stomach and to feed its brood. The nest is behind the waterfall. Dippers are well named. They dip and search for prey. Mayfly and caddisfly larvae are top of the menu. The nest is well above the water and has likely been used by many generations of dippers. Dippers mate for life, and this pair are on chick feeding duty, a job that doesn't stop until nightfall. They know all the best feeding spots. Dippers are true survivors. And winter is now behind them as little by little the seasons turn into spring. The spruce crossbill's lopsided beak now comes in handy. Larch trees produce a superabundance of cones, and the crossbill is a really efficient tool for extracting the seeds. Even though they eat most of the seeds, there's plenty left over for new trees to grow. Larches are one of the few conifers that lose their needles during winter. It's finally warm enough for forest ants to harvest sunlight. They do it by gathering as a dense mass on the sunny side of the anthill. As they warm up in the sun, they move into their anthill where they release their heat and then come outside again to recharge. They're literally solar heaters on 6 legs. It's also warm enough to bring visitors out onto Lake Königssee. Trumpets sound to display the amazing echo that bounces off the glacial carved cliffs. Higher up, the sound of the trumpets is drowned out by surging meltwater. This is the sound of the thaw in full swing. Chamois are now moving higher. Each day, snowmelt exposes more protein-rich grasses and flowers to feed on. Common rock roses now start to bloom, as do stemless gentians. And tiny primroses. Mountain cowslips thrive at altitudes above 2,000 meters. They are a real delicacy for chamois. And as spring progresses, chamois climb higher and higher as the cowslips bloom later and later with increasing altitude. A floral tribute for a casualty of winter. Shrubby milkwort grows out of the remains of a chamois fawn that did not survive winter. Eagles, foxes, and others have picked its bones. Death in the mountains offers life to many. Many chamois forms do not survive the first winter. Few will be fortunate enough to reach adulthood. Colour suddenly appears on grassy slopes, and blue is very popular. Spring gentians thrive only where chamois and ibex graze. They grow only where competing vegetation is kept short. Something else is pushing its way out of the ground. The winter rose's new leaves are small and delicate, while last year's leaves are almost finished. But the winter rose solves this problem with a trick. Its flowers have seeded and no longer attract pollinators. Instead, the petals have turned green. They act as leaves, using the power of the sun to make nutrients for the plant. On forested slopes around Königssee, some creatures have lately emerged from their hiding places. En masse, they moved slowly down slope to the lake shallows. The tranquility of this pond is about to be disturbed by an explosive event. It's breeding season for common toads. Males outnumber females, and in their frenzy pounce on anything that remotely looks like a female. Toad females release spawn in meter-long, triple-stranded strings. Each pair of toads produces several such strings in a season. The male maintains his piggyback or amplexus position for several days, fertilizing each egg strand as the female produces it. Inside the strings are several thousand toad eggs. Very few eggs will grow to become adults, but only as few as 2 per breeding pair need to survive to maintain their population in the lake. It's hard to imagine that a few short weeks ago, the landscape around the lake was like an ice age. But less than 900 meters above Königssee, it's as if the ice age never ended. The Grünsee, or Green Lake, thaws much later, far too late for some inhabitants. This female brown frog became trapped beneath the ice. She and her unfertilized spawn is eagerly consumed by minnows. Nothing is wasted here. This lake is one of the toughest places in all the Alps to live. After hard winters, griffon vultures are often seen scavenging. They cash in on the misfortunes of others. However, a far more reliable food source is available to black grouse. Each spring, large branches sprout countless red candles. These are female flowers and will become cones full of seeds. Something else is about to sprout. Warmer temperatures are the trigger for the larch's transformation. The trick of regrowing needles after a cold winter allows larches to live in the high Arctic. They are real Ice Age survivors. Spring's sudden temperature changes are no problem for black grouse. Bright red wattles above their eyes show they're ready to mate. Males gather in areas called leks. They compete to attract a mate with tail displays and calls. Some males even take to the trees. This female watches the display. She will choose the finest male to mate with. Alpine salamanders love bad weather. It's the only time they come out during the day. Just out of hibernation, it explores its rocky kingdom for invertebrate prey. In spring, avalanches and snowslides constantly cascade from Watzmann and the neighboring mountains. Below, snow accumulates in mounds many meters thick. As the snow becomes deeper and thicker, the mounds change their appearance. The growing weight compresses the snow, which begins to resemble a small glacier. As the sun's heat melts the snow, water flows out through bizarre and beautiful ice caves. It's as if the ice ages are coming and going in rapid succession. Each sunny day, the natural snow sculpture retreats. As these transient structures disappear, the meltwater swells mountain streams that flow from the peaks. Year after year, more and more of the mountains are slowly eroding. Every year, huge amounts of rock is washed down toward the lake. Over millennia, all this gravel will slowly choke the lake. But that's far into the future. Now, Königssee has many different habitats and a wide range of lake dwellers. Being a national park, trees that have fallen into the lake are usually allowed to remain. Among the dead branches, roach gather. Here, there's food to graze and hiding places from predators. Gelatinous ribbons decorate the tree like cheery ornaments. But these pale ribbons are a sinister presence. Each bead contains new life. Larvae peer out of their mini aquaria. They are the offspring of this predator. Striped like a tiger, the perch is a fast and efficient hunter. Everything has its time to shine. Depending on the day or the week, different plants are at their best. This area is famous for orchids. The beguiling scent and nectar of white halibarines attracts many pollinators. Another less showy orchid is easily overlooked, but not by pollinators. The twayblade, with its yellow-green flowers, is a magnet for insects. But not all orchids play fair in their dealings with insects. The largest one grows in the woods. It offers no nectar. As the outer petals unfold, they reveal a slipper-shaped lip designed to trap insects that come searching for nectar. If they escape, they carry pollen, but nothing else. Fortunately for insects, lady slipper orchids aren't always successful at trapping prey and propagate mostly via their roots. Though rare, lady slipper orchids thrive in the primeval forests that have grown here since the Ice Age retreated over 10,000 years ago. Everything revolves around light. The forests here are sparse with lots of fallen dead wood. They are flooded with sunlight and rich in species. However, it's too dark here for some species. Real sun-seekers thrive in alpine meadows where there's full sunlight and no shade. They are helped by shade removers. Today, dairy cows are the grazers. But back in the Ice Ages, wild cattle like aurochs would have done the same job. Heat-loving butterflies like the red Apollo pollinate flowers of light-hungry herbs, as do ringlets. Butterflies and countless other insects can tolerate the extremely high ultraviolet light up in the meadows. Marmots also need wide-open alpine pasture. They feed on herbs and grasses, which they also use to make a soft bed for their winter hibernation. However, when feeding out in the open, marmots must be alert to danger. All it takes is one alarm call, and they disappear. On hot summer days, other species are emerging. Orchids, gentians, carline thistles, and many others thrust up their flowers into the sunshine of the alpine meadows. Of all the flowers, orchids have invented the most ingenious way to attract insects. This one is a trickster. It has no nectar, but to attract bees, it produces a bee-like odor. The orchid then attaches pollen packets to their heads, which the bees take to pollinate other orchids. This new arrival looks like a bumblebee, but it's a bumblebee hoverfly. It's very similar to a bumblebee, except it has a fly's proboscis and 2 wings, not 4. A red-tailed bumblebee pollinates spiked rampions, also called white Rapunzels. According to legend, Rapunzel stole this flower, a crime for which she was locked in a tower. Summer is now well advanced. The rock ptarmigan chicks raised in this nest are now out and about in the big, wide, dangerous world. An adder camouflaged in the grass. Someone else is hiding, trying not to attract attention. A golden eagle on the hunt. The coast is clear, but the black grouse female adopts a slow, crouching run just in case. The adder poses no threat to the black grouse female, but she wisely leads her chicks out of harm's way. This common lizard would be a feast for the adder, so it basks near an escape route, a rock crevice. Crevices are desirable places to live, especially for this remarkable bird. The red-winged wall creeper lives almost exclusively high up on vertical rock faces. It's a true mountaineer that finds its food in chinks and cracks in the rocks that built this alpine world. The female flies gracefully over these rocks of ages that are now being slowly eroded by ice and wind and time. The male wall creeper returns with an invertebrate salad in his beak. Food for their chicks in a nest deep within the crevice. Begging cries of a golden eagle chick are a sure sign that a parent is returning, this time without any food. Wall creepers are loyal to their territories. Only severe ice and snow will force them to lower altitudes. Crag martins also live up here. Like their swallow cousins, crag martins mortar their nests to the rock using mud mixed with saliva. The female wall creeper returns. For her chicks, she's brought home spiders, centipedes, and insects. The male's also back with a full beak. The pair feed their chicks almost without a break from dawn till dusk. Chick droppings are disposed of well away from the nest. This time the golden eagle brings a chamois fawn to the nest. The higher you go, the shorter the summer. At Grouse, which was ice covered until recently, the Marmots celebrate a milestone. The babies are coming out of their burrow for the first time. They still feed from their mothers. They'll grow quickly and be fully independent ahead of the coming winter. Alpine globe flowers are large members of the buttercup family. They're so named because they never fully open. Here's why. They have an arrangement with a special pollinator. The globe flower fly can squeeze in through the closed petals. Here, it feeds on nectar, pollinates the flower, then lays its eggs and raises its young. This arrangement works. Globe flowers bloom everywhere around the lake. In theory, a high-altitude lake like Grouse should not have any fish. So how did minnows get here? They were probably introduced when being used as live bait to catch these fish, Arctic char, a kind of trout also likely introduced. Both fish have adapted to become true alpine survivors. In this cold and nutrient-poor lake, they are now smaller and slower growing. The Grouse lies in a basin with no visible outlet, yet its water level remains much the same throughout the year. This is possible because overflow water drains underground through a maze of rocks. Waters accumulate in crystal clear cave lakes. This cave system is about 10 kilometers long and home to a variety of creatures, including earthworms that live on the moist cave rocks. In the pitch-black belly of the mountain, a waterfall. "900 meters below Grouse, its waters finally emerge. From here, it has a very short journey as a real river before it joins the very much larger Königssee. Where the waters meet, thrive unusual ribbon algae. Lake Königssee is almost 200 meters deep, with a capacity of over 500 million cubic meters, all of drinkable quality. The glacier that carved this 7-kilometer Bavarian fjord was fed by ice from smaller feeder glaciers. These became the side valleys with streams that feed the lake its pure mountain water. Crystal clear waters are favored by stonefly larvae and others, like snails that graze algae off rocks. And caddisfly larvae, they live inside their protective houses made out of wood or sand or any hard material available. From above, you can't tell how much life exists in these streams. But below, it's like a caddisfly city at rush hour. The dippers know where the rich hunting grounds are. That's why they feed their young here. In damp areas beside these streams live some strange and wonderful residents. The Illyrian millipede, one of the most colourful millipedes in Europe. And the emerald earthworm. This spectacular creature is rarely seen. It hides away in rotting wood and damp forests. Why is it green? That's one of the many mysteries of the forests around Königssee. As autumn arrives, it brings thick mist that sits low in the valley, as a glacier once did. The last visitors of the season take tours on the lake. They will return home with fond memories of this spectacular lake and surroundings, this echo of the Ice Age. But nature hasn't finished its colourful displays just yet. As if wanting to compete with the bright colours of autumn trees, the stars in this performance are dressed festively and seasonally. Arctic char wear their colourful attire for breeding. Females have thick bellies full of eggs. They're guarded by males waiting to spawn with them. The males tremble to stimulate the female to release eggs. char are among the last creatures of the season to breed and produce offspring. Winter is on its way again. The low sun only reaches the lake for a few hours a day. Higher up, some are already preparing for winter. Rock ptarmigans replace their dark summer feathers that are camouflage among rocks with white ones, camouflage for snow. The alpine meadows have changed. The cows have gone down the mountain to their winter quarters. And seed heads of many plants offer animals rich nutrients for the hard times ahead. Going into winter well-nourished is now the priority. Ibex remain above the tree line throughout winter. Chamois will keep their options open. When winter storms sweep in, some will seek the protection of trees. The most important strategy is be prepared for the winter ice age. No two winters are ever the same. And in the future, winters are likely to be far more changeable. How will life in this unique alpine wonderland adapt to climate change? As it has always done through many cycles of ice ages and warm periods. The one certainty is that alpine ecosystems around Königssee will endure.